Mary, the brother of the guy that founded Olympia, Sylvester, she comes over to the West Coast via the Panama, not the canal, but the isthmus, takes a sailing ship up to Whidbey Island, to Coopville, and has to stay over here for a week to transfer to another ship. And so she got to know Captain Coop, and she takes this other ship down to Olympia to be with her husband, Sylvester. My husband found in the records in Olympia, 1 year after she was in Olympia, she was divorced from the other fellow and married the ship captain that brought her down there, Richard Holbrook. So she apparently fell in love with this captain that brought her down to Olympia and decided not to stay in Olympia but move up here. And she helped Richard Holbrook, Captain Holbrook, settle and the donation land claim over on San Juan Fuca.
Did it include Santa Fuca? The town that you know?
Yes.
Yeah, in the book. Do you know about that, Richard?
Jimmy Jeans?
Yeah.
Dorothy Neal's?
Yeah. No, not Dorothy Neal's.
There's another.
Jimmy Jeans book has
Here's the whole book.
Okay.
So it's probably right where the pier came down.
I think it includes.
Yeah.
And the green house that's there, that's the original Holbrook house. As you go around the curve there, if you slow down, you'll see the white plaque that says Horace Holbrook House. So anyway, that's how the family got started here. And so that was Harriet Lowe and their daughter Molly Frances. She grew up here, but for some reason, which I don't know why, she moved to Boston, like in 1895. And she worked for the Christian Science Monitor as a reporter and writer. So I have all this material from her. And she married Pfeiffer. They traveled all over the country. I think he was a teacher. And had my grandmother in 1899 in Tacoma, but they actually settled in Los Angeles. So when my dad was born in LA in 1925, my grandmother, her husband lived there, and my dad. And then my grandmother, when she retired in '64, moved up here with her husband. And then in 1982, my dad and his wife, my mom, moved here and built the house over on Arnold Road. So we've sort of kept it going, but we lost the ownership of this property in the process. And the barn was over there. And that whole lot was covered with shrubs, not so much blackberries, but just native plants, all. And so there were lots of quail that were in there. And there's the fruit tree is still there, the plum tree is still there, and that maple tree is still there, which is great. But they've cleared that lot and built that other house there. And then I'm so grateful for the city that they moved the barn here, because that was the worst thing that Dad and I saw. We saw the yellow sign go up, you know, a new application, new project here. But I'm just really glad that the barn got moved over, because obviously the note was waiting for somebody to find it.
Who built the barn?
Horace. Uncle Horace.
Is that a cousin?
Okay, so Uncle Horace was, must have been Molly Pfeiffer's brother, I think. Your uncle. He can't remember. So my dad had a stroke in '90, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you're following along a little bit. Yeah.
Wasn't Horace Richard's son?
We'd have to go back and look at the exact genealogy, because I don't have it all straight in my mind. But Horace, yeah, there you go. Horace and Molly. Horace built this. And he died in '39.
Do you know when he built this?
Do we know when the barn was built, Dad? Was it here when you were a boy? When you came up here...
No, I was here when I was 9 years old.
When you were 9 years old, in 1931... 34, it was here.
So probably 20s. Was it a new barn, do you think, then?
I don't know, no. I don't know. I don't know.
I think my
My
dad.
voice is gone.
That's okay. But I do know that he said that there are these two doors because they had these large pieces of equipment that they couldn't back up. I think they were mowing equipment, maybe, and they had to pull it through and then out the other side. And that's why it was perfect up there on the corner, because they could go in one side and out the other. And so see, Horace was the builder, and Richard was the ship captain, but I think also the builder.
The builder is the one that bought this lot.
Yeah, I think so. So I have more information at home, and I'll bring it, because I have this thick county-produced record of who owned which pieces of property where, all around this piece here.
Well, we need to get copies in the museum.
Yep.
Because I don't know what they have in the records now.
Okay.
Do you know what the barn was used for? Was it? We talk about a boat. A
Boat.
Did they build boats in this barn?
Did he build boats in here?
Yeah, a boat. I don't know but it was transferred over to Monroe Landing. It started here, but then I took it over to Monroe Landing.
Okay. So they had a boat in here that they were. That
For a
he,
little while.
oh, and then you had your boat here too, though.
No.
Did they build boats in here or just store them?
Did they build them or store them?
No, I was working on it, trying to, I had 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. And I moved over to
Monroe Landing.
Monroe Landing.
Oh, but he's talking about his little sailboat.
yeah.
I don't think we know.
Okay.
But I have a lot of material. I have letters. I have stuff. I have boxes. We're going to go through it and find out, because we need to know, was this used for just storage or was it used for building? Mostly storage, I think. But I do know that they had the 2 doors because they needed to pull big equipment through. And my grandmother told me that too. And then Dad remembers that. So at least you've got the genealogy.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Minutes of the daughters, they found references for several months about a building
Yeah.
and the land that was given to the daughters, and they were they did some repairs on it. They were trying to fix it up for a meeting place.
Oh.
And then, for some reason, well, they didn't have the money. They didn't have enough money, so I don't know whether they gave it back or just what happened.
Huh.
But we don't know which building or just exactly where it was. So we were kind of
Boxes.
looking.
We'll-
Yeah.
We'll look for the boxes.
Your husband would love to go through
references
that.
He
to that.
will. He will.
The daughters want to know.
Well, Tom and I will probably be up this summer several times, and we'll start going through the boxes, and you all have to come over.
You'll have to help you. Huh?
Yeah, I need you to help me. So we'll keep working on this.
You've got my email. You could let me
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and I could send out a note to the people again, and then set a time just to
Well,
get together.
You must
Whatever.
have the email for.
I have both Harrison and Ron's email
We
now.
must have like Jan Olson's
I don't.
president of the
I don't.
chapter.
I don't.
Well, that's when it was.
Which was terrible. So we lived here for a year, and he built a big platform so we could store furniture there. But then they probably took that apart after a while. I don't know if that was in here when they moved the barn. I think it was just the shell by then.
I think it was just a shell, yes.
But anyway, so there's one door and here's the other, so they could move the equipment through. So should we let Harrison or you?
Whose camera?
Yes, yes. Okay. And we need some.